I'm Piper, and this is my Petcha Kutcha for educational psychology. Throughout my time in Psych, I learned about some of the most important practices and theories behind effective teaching and student behavior. The four main theorists we discussed were Piaget, Bronfenbrenner, Erikson, and Kohlberg. Along with them, I also decided some behavioral theories were quite noteworthy. These four important psychologists compiled many important ideas and theories. These theories help teachers in classrooms every day, even if the teachers don't know it. When I spoke to Mrs. Bonema at Bishop Heelan High School, it seemed she knew all of the ideas and techniques, but not necessarily the names behind them. She did agree with the importance of all of the ideas I presented. The first influential psychologist is Piaget. He theorized that people generally develop in 4 stages, although his age grouping is largely questioned. The first stage is the sensory motor, which takes place from birth to 2 years, and the second is the pre-operational, from 2 to 7 years. In the classroom, these young children will start understanding language, symbols, and pretend play. The third stage takes place in young preteens. They start to think logically while still needing familiar ideas to build off of. The last stage is the formal operational. Students in this stage can think abstractly and reason with hypotheticals. Mrs. Bonema said that as you teach and learn your students, these stages become more ingrained into what you do subconsciously. At a point, you just know. But Piaget wasn't the only name in the developmental psych area. Bronfenbrenner took a much different approach and looked at the environmental effects on children's development. When I spoke with Mrs. Bonema, I found that while she didn't know his name, she agreed with his theory. She stated that the impact from people at home or even a student's culture can have huge effects on students, like not caring about homework or really putting in effort. The environmental approach is so important to teaching because as teachers we have to realize all of the other things impacting our students. We only see our students for about 7 hours a day. The other 17 hours the students are out in their environments. Things like church, family life, or even laws impact our students. But teachers can impact a student forever as well. Our next big shot is Erikson. He broke development down into 8 main stages. Mrs. Bonema hadn't heard of Erikson, but she has seen students go through things like these crises in the classroom. She believes that to help students get through these crises fully and healthily, teachers must create a safe environment for students to be themselves. In classrooms, the stage we see most often is the identity versus role confusion. And high school students are trying to find out who they are and who they want to be. They hide things and take influence from people they maybe shouldn't. It's important to stay mindful of this when teaching so many difficult students and their differences. The goal for teachers is to create an environment where these students can come out of the stage with a sense of identity and not confusion. Speaking of why students do things, Kohlberg studied this at length with moral dilemmas. He found that there are 3 levels of moral development that most people fall under. The first is all about reward, punishment, and not getting in trouble. Oftentimes, this means children avoid punishment at all costs. They follow rules, and they know that other people set the rules for them. Young students often do this. The second and third levels are a little bit more complex. In the second level, people start to focus more on external ethics. What's best for society? But in the third level, they focus on personal ethics. What is just in my eyes? Understanding where students come from is a huge area, and we need to know why a student did something. Mrs. Bonema pointed out that cheating in the use of AI is big in schools. Now that we're through our noteworthy theorists, we can talk about some behavioral theories. The first of these is classical conditioning, which is when you teach a desired behavior by pairing stimuli. Ivan Pavlov trained a dog to salivate at the ring of a bell by pairing food and a bell. Teachers use this technique for classroom management all the time. A very good example of classical conditioning in the classroom is how students react to the dismissal bell. As soon as the bell rings, they are up and out of their door. When I spoke with Mrs. Bonema, she noted that even during periods when the bell wasn't for her class, the students still got up and then were very confused as to why they were standing in the middle of a lecture. Our next behavioral theory is operant conditioning, which focuses on consequences to teach desired behavior. In operant conditioning, reinforcers lead to more of the desired behavior by adding something. In classrooms, this is often modeled with prize drawers, charts, and stickers, or simply verbal praise. Reinforcement has been found to work much more effectively than punishment. The opposite of our reinforcer is our punisher. These are consequences given or taken to decrease undesired behavior. These are obvious throughout schools. Things like detention, staying in from recess, or calling parents are all punishers. The important thing to remember for teachers is that not all punishments work for every kid. There may have to be some trial and error to see what actually works for your class. The same idea goes for reinforcements. A very important learning theory came from the experiment involving a blow-up clown done by Bandura. Children were to watch an adult play aggressively with the clown, and one group saw the adult get scolded, and the other saw the adult not get scolded. The children who watched the adult get scolded didn't act aggressively with the clown. The other group did. The results show that children can learn simply by watching how others act. In classrooms, this happens all the time, whether it be a teacher modeling a behavior or a student watching another person misbehave. This oftentimes leads to copying and then an out-of-control classroom that nobody enjoys. Some wild examples have been students running on desks, running around the room, or even shouting at the teacher. An important concept for teachers to remember is that students remembering concepts is when they actually learn the concept. As teachers, we have to help them store information long-term and be able to transfer and apply it to many different situations. Memory usage is something that many teachers forget about, but it is crucial for long-term development and problem-solving skills. We want to help our students remember what they learn so that they can prepare for their future. A common technique is called mnemonics to help remembering. A good example is Roy G. Biv, which helps us remember the colors of the rainbow. A technique that Mrs. Bonema uses is getting her students to write down everything over and over. The more they see it and write it, the better they apply and remember. Repetition is important. Finally, effective teachers understand that while they don't need to know the names or specifics of these theories or theorists, knowing how to apply it and understand it in the classroom is vital. These teachers are intentional in their teaching and they work every day to achieve good learning outcomes for their students. In a safe and intentional classroom, everybody has a good time learning. Intentional teachers are effective teachers. They are teachers who are understanding, kind, prepared, passionate about teaching and the next generation. If you ask almost anyone, they say these same things. Using this knowledge and the theories I have learned will help me in my future career as an educator.